This is Newcap News with Lauren Poland.
Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us. Newcap's meteorologist Peter Quinlan joins me on the desk for our top story tonight. The region is facing some severe weather with a tornado watch in place for much of our area and reports of funnel clouds spotted all over the region. What can we expect from all this weather activity, Peter?
We're likely going to see a few more funnel clouds pop out. And now these are called cold core funnel clouds. And we actually have a few shots of them that were taken from some of our viewers across the region. We've seen them in Kitscoty, Dewberry, Marwayne, and even in Vermilion. There was one just east of the town, and these are some shots that were taken by viewers. Now, these cold core funnels rarely reach the ground, but they do have the chance of hitting the ground. So if you see one in your area, you should head indoors to the bottom level of your house, if possible, go into a bathtub and put a mattress on top to protect yourself in case any damage. And so these cold core funnels do have the potential to do some damage and harm if they're headed your way. Now, we also have some downpours, as you can see from these pictures here. Downpours, heavy downpours, and hail is also being reported across the region in the Vermilion area, and we do also have reports of some localized flooding, the sewer backup, as we don't have enough capacity. Now, these are some shots that were taken just a few minutes ago outside of our studio here in Lloydminster. Now, these clouds are starting to build up and roll into our area. There's a rotating low pressure system that's headed towards our region. As we speak, it's almost just over us, and this is where it started in Vermilion earlier today. It's continuing to form as we speak right now, so you do want to keep your eye to the sky if you're headed outdoors, because these are very localized cold core funnel clouds, so you do definitely want to keep an eye to the sky if you're headed outside.
So people should be taking this very seriously. What kinds of things should they be preparing for?
Prepare for the worst. Always just be ready just in case one of those cold cores forms over top of you. And if one does, you should definitely head to the lower level of your house. Make sure your whole family is aware of the situation. Also keep pets downstairs if you can, and get elderly people who have to take some time to get into the basement. Maybe just best to keep them down in their lower level of your house. And you can also bring your TV down if you want to stay up to date with the latest in these weather watches and warnings. Now, we do have a tornado watch in effect made by Environment Canada, so we do have those concerns continuing into the evening and overnight period.
And one more time, I guess we'll take a look at those pictures. So this activity should be continuing, Peter?
It will be continuing over the next few hours. This area of low pressure will take some time to head out. But as the evening progresses, the risk should ease off, and I expect Environment Canada will start to end those warnings and watches later tonight. So we will just keep posted with those public forecasts and give you the latest here on Newcap News.
Thanks very much for this, Peter.
Thank you.
2 people were rushed to St. Paul Hospital this morning after a shooting on the Saddle Lake First Nation. Both victims were airlifted to hospital in Edmonton but are now in stable condition. Police are still searching for suspects but have a good idea who they're looking for from witness statements. A 34-year-old man was shot in his upper body while a 31-year-old woman suffered non-gunshot related injuries. RCMP are still investigating, but so far there's no motive behind the shooting, and it's unconfirmed if the attack was gang-related. Lloydminster residents hit the polls this coming fall for the municipal election, but Mayor Jeff Mulligan has yet to announce if he'll be running. Mulligan says health and family are deciding factors.
I think every elected official, every leader owes it to the public to make sure that they get themselves checked out medically before they make that final, put the signature on the line.
Mulligan says his family is supportive, so now he's heading to the doctor to see if he gets the green light.
I want to make sure that if I'm going to keep up 70 hours a week, that I'm capable of doing that. He's probably going to say diet and exercise, and you'll be able to do just fine, Jeff.
The mayor will make his final decision by the end of this week. Meantime, so far there are 2 candidates vying for spots on City Council. Longtime councillor Alan Caford and Synergy Credit Union consultant Victoria McLean. Voters cast their ballots October 24th. From waste to water, security to roads, the border city is getting a major facelift with multiple big-ticket projects in the works. Anna Stanislaw has all the details.
The mayor's State of the City address focused on many projects set for the border city. The development of the submerged attached growth reactor for the water treatment plant is currently in the works and will amount to a total of $11 million.
it uses less energy, this type of process. It uses natural organisms to treat the wastewater, less personnel to function. So overall, it's just a smaller footprint on our processes. And one of the other pluses is that we believe it's very economical to do as well. So
Plans for the waste facility are also being updated and will make a difference in where people dump their garbage.
in the future, you'll probably go into one area. You can put your recyclables in the one bin, your trash in the other bin, your electronics in the other bin. It'll be very easy and accessible for our residents.
The safety and security of residents and access to buildings are a target as vandalism and violence arise.
We've got to make sure that it's minimized, that it's largely predictable where it'll occur, and that we can keep people safe that want to stay out of those areas in particular.
And the other aspect that we're looking at is security cameras. So not only installing them, but how do you monitor the security cameras? Now that's more of a longer term project.
The improvement of roadways and intersections are part of the city's projects as well. Anna Stanislaw, Newcap News.
The border city's booming population is causing big traffic backups on many local routes. Council is now trying to compensate, approving a $200,000 budget for planning new road designs. 75th Avenue from 44th to 52nd Street is part of the budget, along with 40th Avenue from Highway 16 to 36th Street. These busy roadways will all soon be a part of a new plan for the city.
So we need to start planning those heavy alternative arterials so that we have our own, we're probably not going to have a mini hen day, but we got to have a way that we can move that local traffic so it doesn't have to engage and interact with the busy highway traffic.
The plans will examine the current and future needs of the roads. Construction isn't expected to begin until next year. Meantime, the new City Works Yard is one step closer to construction as Council secured funding for operations to move forward. Council approved a bylaw allowing the city access to additional funds for the $40 million project.
Basically, from this, about $20 million is projected to be borrowed, and that's if we require it. About $17 million is coming from capital grants from the province of Alberta, and the remainder of it is coming from financing from our reserves and just our basic operating financing.
The facility will replace the current city shop, looking at growth over the next 2 decades.
Right now, we're just working on the underground and some grading of the project. So now with the official approval of the boring, we can move ahead and start awarding some of the other contracts as well.
The new Infrastructure Operations Center should be complete in the next 18 months. Reflecting on the past and looking to the future. That's what Mayor Jeff Mulligan touched on during his State of the City address yesterday morning. As Bart Patiasic explains, though the mayor boasted many positives, there are still lots of challenges facing the city as well.
During his address, the mayor said he was proud of what he feels the city has accomplished during his time in office. But as Lloydminster expands, there will be growing pains.
Well, I think any time a city is growing the way we are, it's worrisome for your neighbors. Where are you going to grow? What are you going to let them do? What are we going to do together? What we have to understand is that the next home run economically, the next growth home run we hit, is going to require our neighbors and us working together.
Currently, a large chunk of the city money comes from land sales, but according to the mayor, that is not a good long-term plan for a growing border city.
I think we need a $20 to $30 million revenue source over the next few years that we land on. That may be a joint venture, it might be utility, it could be something of that ilk. But definitely if we were to grow the city outside of its current boundaries, we're not going to own that land. That's somebody else's land, right?
One concern the mayor has for the future is the lack of affordable housing for the community.
So you have to get 3 levels of government together. We've got to come up with some innovation around what's the city's contribution to that, because it will limit our economic growth for sure if we don't have an ability to have the people who are in that $52,000 to $70,000 family income being able to get into home ownership.
Mulligan has met with developers who specialize in affordable housing and is impressed with their work. But he agrees it's a challenge to get them to set up in Lloydminster.
I applaud the work of those kind of developers. It just takes time to bring it on, and it's hard to encourage enough developers when today they can get $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 for something not anywhere near that good.
Bart Pediasic, Newcap News.